Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of QQ. We're Second Perspective. I'm Paul Weston. That's Torin McLaughlin. I always get the side wrong, so I'm not going to guess. Today we're going to do a review on Kill Your Darlings. As always, our reviews are not. There's no spoilers. Discussions are where we talk about things in more depth, where we actually talk about particular plot points and stuff. We talked about stuffs. But for now, Torin, why don't you give us some information on Kill Your Darlings and a quick synopsis?
Sure. So, Kill Your Darlings is the first major film by John Crocodus, I believe, as director. He's done others, but this is the first one to garner international attention. It's shot in 2013, and it stars Daniel Radcliffe, Dane DeHaan, Michael C. Hall, and Jack Huston. Ben Foster as well. There's 4 or 5 main characters. They play beats of the Beat generation, poets, writers, intellectuals, bohemian, avant-gardists, romantics, whatever you want to call them. So Dan Radcliffe plays Allen Ginsberg, Dane DeHaan is Lucian Carr, Michael C. Hall is David Cameron, Jack Huston is Jack Kerouac, and Ben Foster is William Burroughs. And essentially, Kill Your Darlings is about Allen Ginsberg. He is the central character. It's about his relationship with Dan DeHaan's character, Lucian Carr, and about their sort of intimate, friendly, more than friendly relationship, and Lucian Carr's other, perhaps more than friendly, destructive relationships, and the juxtaposition of these close relationships with the genesis of the Beat art movement. So basically, it chronicles their time at Columbia University, living together, meeting each other, talking about art, talking about politics, getting to be good friends, etc., meeting other writers like Jack Kerouac and William Burroughs, and basically follows the relationships to a very dramatic conclusion. I can't really say much more than that because it would be giving away plot details, and that's for later.
Yeah, in our discussions. So as always, I think I'm gonna give this film an A minus myself. Giving the grade first. Simply put, I mean the biggest and best part of this film, bar none, is the performances of basically everybody in the film. I'm a believer that Daniel Radcliffe is a strong actor, and that he hasn't had any performances that are gonna blow anybody's mind yet, but I feel like in the next 5 years he will. So that's my bold statement. I think the 2 best performances, however, are probably Michael C. Hall playing David, with the whole sort of interesting relationship he has with, I believe the other person that has the strongest performance is Dane DeHaan, Lucian Carr. I think Michael C. Hall, just without giving too much away, he plays the character that he plays could have been very stereotypical and very sort of the way it's always played, but I think he gives it a nice little flair, and that's why the performance stands out so well when it could have easily have flopped. So that's why I think that performance is pretty strong. Yeah. And then Dane DeHaan, with his performance, it's a little bit uneven at times. Torin said when we weren't recording yet that, and I agree with him, that he does the acting perfectly, very well for about 96% of the time, and there's about 4% of the time where it's cringy.
3.8. Yeah, 3.8 to be fair.
Okay, 3.8. His acting's a little bit cringy. You're like, ooh, ha, but there's so many good moments that I would absolutely take the little bit of a cringe every once in a while for the very powerful performance he does have. Also, another really strong aspect of the film is just the first 45-60 seconds. They have a very nice sequence, very nice interesting image, and then it has the 30 seconds of that stuff, and then it shows the title cards, and I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. You've pulled me. You have my 2 hours. I think Torn can talk about this a little bit. I didn't have any particular expectations. I didn't know anything about the Beat Generation, so I didn't have any expectations of these characters. So I didn't have the same sort of hang-ups that he did. So I think that's why I liked the film probably more than he did. However, there's a few of the weaknesses I did have. There's a small, like, 10-minute gap in the late first act or so where it was a little bit of a lull. I was like, okay, what are the characters going to do next? But for the 30 minutes beforehand, it was full of this, like, vibrant energy that I was just sort of really hyped up. And so I was like, yeah, I'll deal with this 10-minute hype. Or, lull. And then I know that Torn will probably talk about this a little bit more as well. It's just there was a little bit of pretension in the film, which some of it I think was just sort of necessary with what they were talking about, and it's hard to not have a sense of pretension when you're talking about like writers and their process and all that sort of stuff. But that's sort of where the film had a few small weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that overall, I think it's a very strong film, and I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, you are right. I did like it less than you. I think I give it a B minus, like a full letter.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I enjoyed the film. I thought it was pretty good. It didn't blow me away in any regard. I thought the performances, while very good, were not revolutionary or anything like that, mind-bending. I think you're right. David C. Hall gives a really good performance here that could be overlooked because Dan Radcliffe is like one of the title character or one of the lead characters. Sorry, and Dane DeHaan gives a very impressive performance. But Michael C. Hall brings that character to life in a way that it would be so easy not to. You know, I think that's a really good point. And when I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I turned to her and I said, he wants to be Philip Seymour Hoffman. Because the first time you see him, and he's like an entertaining guest in sort of, you know, the wildly successful public persona, like life of the party type, most intellectual but domineering guy, you know, that Capote sort of plays. I don't know. Capote's a different character. Anyway, he reminded me of Philip Seymour Hoffman, which is not a bad thing. So not much more to say about that. Dan Radcliffe, very good performance. His acting ticks that we know so well. It's such a disadvantage to have so much screen time doing one thing and then have to branch out, you know, because we already know what he was thinking in Harry Potter when he made that face or whatever. I think he's made a great name for himself as an actor out with the Harry Potter things and has taken on some serious projects, or at least like take me serious projects, and this is probably one of them, and I think he nails it, even though it didn't blow me away. I thought it was a great performance, so that was a strong point of the movie for me. I thought the filming was great, nothing to complain about in terms of like the shot selection and the way that everything looked. I think things to complain about in terms of the characterizations, which were generally strong, but especially the way that they narrated the whole like artistic development of Allen Ginsberg was narrated. While it was done with sensitivity to like the intimate relationship that he has with these people in his circle, and his artistic development, those two things going on at the same time, I think writing wise they paid enough attention to each, and the pacing of each was well maintained, and that each fed into each other very well. Anyway, but it was pretty hokey at points because they get really excited about art in some regard, and it's like, okay, you know, but this is not the way it would have looked. It would have looked at least 10 times cooler than this. You know? And the things that they were saying are like, you know, here's if we were to distill some complicated and, well, not really complicated in general, but like things that would have been very exciting to be there for, here's what they looked like in the Hollywood version, you know? And so it was hard to avoid, and unfortunately this film didn't avoid the hokiness that comes with representing writers and moments of inspiration on screen. Anyway, maybe that's just a personal nag, but whatever. I think in general, B-. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it, but there's lots to talk about.
Yeah, I find it really interesting that you would give this a B- because the film that we just did, A Most Violent Year, I gave a B-, and I didn't particularly care for this film. So it's interesting how our grading systems are a little bit different. Maybe we have to talk about sort of what you classify as an A and all that sort of stuff. But that will be in the next video that we're going to be doing in just a very short time here. But yeah, we'll be discussing the film where we just splatter all the spoilers everywhere, and see if we can't get down to something. Join us in the next video. Yeah. Wait,
Thanks.
yeah,
Have
thanks.
a great day, Internet. As
Okay.
always, you are the Internet.